It's a pleasure to be with you and to come before you in my new role as President and CEO of the organization. So I hope you enjoy those birthday cookies that you have on your table while I tell you a little bit about myself and how I look at philanthropy. But first, how many of you were with us last night? Oh, good show of hands. And how many of you participated in the DNA weaving social fabric? All right, it's a good number. So if you haven't had a chance, the exhibit is in the foyer in the back corner here. So you'll have a chance, please stop by and weave yourself into what we are calling the social fabric of philanthropy. So fabric has always played a large part in my life. As a young girl, I learned how to sew, and I was inspired by my grandmother's quilts. My after-school job as a teenager was in a Joann Fabric store, and my love of visual style led me to the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City for my undergraduate studies. And after that led to a brief stint in fashion publishing at Vogue Patterns magazine. After which, I turned my attention from fashion to the nonprofit sector. I earned a master's degree in nonprofit management, and I worked in youth development, higher education, and philanthropy. So the love of textiles then became a hobby for me. But as I reflect upon it, the use of fabric, weaving it, and quilting with it can be a way to think about our profession of philanthropy. So let's take weaving. Weaving is a method in which two distinct sets of yarn or thread are interlaced at right angles to form a fabric or a cloth. The longitudinal threads are called warp, and the lateral threads are called the weft. So cloth is usually woven on a loom, a device that holds the warp threads in place while the weft threads are woven through. The way that the warp and the weft interlace are often called a weave. The method in which the threads are interwoven affects the characteristics of the cloth. So David Brooks, the executive director of the Aspen Institute, says about their social fabric project, Weave, the Weaver movement is repairing our country's social fabric, which is badly frayed by distrust, division, and exclusion. Aspen defines weaving as a way of life and a state of mind, and not just a set of actions. And they note that as humans, we long for honest, deep connection. Weaving builds connection, and it works to create a social fabric where mutual trust and affection is standard, where equity is implicit, and where all people find joy and meaning in daily life. Weaving is making the choice to lean in to relationships and connection. You all weave in your communities. You weave together as a network when you gather to learn and share. And Philanthropy Ohio is your loom. We hold the space for you to weave new possibilities into your work. So once we have our fabric, what are we going to do with it? Well, we could make a quilt. The patchwork quilt is a connection to the past and a sense of community. It's regarded as memory, useful and everyday, yet capable of extraordinary beauty and conveying occasional wonder. When you look closely at what is quite literally the fabric of our lives, you start to discover stories, myths, and histories. In a family quilt, the fabric comes from clothing worn by generations of family members. There are myths about freedom quilts, used to send messages about routes along the Underground Railroad, and they remain folklore today in children's media. So a quilt begins its life as a thought. An image is formed, a pattern is devised, and a plan is invented. Elements such as collage and patterns, framing, and borders are all used to create the quilted narrative, with spaces indicating the joining of different voices. Quilting is communal. It's a social gathering. So your work is the fabric, and the connections piecing your work to your peers' work is the thread, and the knowledge and skills that you acquire with an equity lens creates the batting or the filler that gives heft and structure and warmth. The way you come together, whether it's a structured or irregular design, it enables these patterns and the issues to become evident. The quilt of philanthropy carries in its patterns the ideas and the creativity of you, the people who contribute to it. So in this way, the quilt that is created becomes substantially greater than the sum of the individual pieces. Altogether, we are greater than the sum of our individual work. And together, we've had a pretty big year. You've built relationships with state and federal policymakers and advocated on behalf of philanthropy about the issues you care about, including education and health at the state level, and visiting a dozen members on Ohio's congressional delegation mid-March at Foundations on the Hill. You've convened with your peers at statewide summits for corporate funders, grants and scholarship managers, resource development and women's funds, and at regional peer groups and local programs, and also virtually through webinars and Zoom meetings. You've gained knowledge about the field and your work via our and print newsletters, our listservs, our website, and our blog. And you've learned about diversity, equity, and inclusion by attending the Groundwater and Phase 1 Racial Equity Institute trainings and the Putting Racism on the Table series. So as we head into the second year of our 3-year strategic framework, I remain excited about our vision, a just and vibrant Ohio through impactful philanthropy, and our mission to lead and equip Ohio philanthropy to be effective, powerful change agents in our communities. Advocating, educating, and convening, those are our work threads. Your work is the weft. Your commitment to practice organizational excellence as we build and sustain capacity to fulfill our mission is our fabric backing, all crafted with a commitment to increase diversity, equity, and inclusion in Ohio's philanthropic sector. Our values are woven in our work: learning, equity, leadership, integrity, engagement, collaboration, innovation, purpose, and voice. So your connections across the field are the thread, and together we are Philanthropy Ohio. So I look forward to the year ahead, and I hope that you'll join me as we weave and craft new possibilities for philanthropy across the state. Thank you.